Right, you magnificent bastards! Gather round the hollow table, pour yourself a dram of whiskey, and brace yourselves, because today we're chucking the bloody resistance. You know, that spark that was supposed to light the fire to burn down the First Order, straight into the Warhammer 40k galaxy. And I already hear ya, but Killer Studios, they've got hope, they've got the Force, they've got Rey, definitely not a Palpatine Skywalker. And a web sponge has more structural integrity than this faction. But before we toss the thermal detonators and las bolts, let's set the scene for the poor sods who clicked on this video, not realizing what the hell they were walking into. So like, subscribe, ring the motherfucking bell, and let's dive in. The Resistance, for those lucky enough to have dodged the Disney sequels, like a nimble grog dodging a squig, is basically the Discount Rebel Alliance. Led by Leia, I'm still a general, even though I barely have troops or Ghana. This underfunded, undermanned group of plucky do-gooders rose against the First Order, the Galactic Empire, but with more edge, less budget, and even more daddy issues. Their fleets cobbled together from scrapyards, their troops a mix of volunteers, former rebels, and a few dropout stormtroopers with shaky morals. Their ace in the hole, Rey, who claims to be a Skywalker, but is actually the secret love child of a plot hole and a marketing team. A bloody Palpatine with a stolen name and all the emotional range of a brick with eyeliner. They rely on hope, friendship, and a few X-Wings duct taped together with feelings. Now, in the opposite corner, we have the 40k galaxy, a place where hope is heresy, friendship gets you purged, and the only thing duct tape is a guardsman's femur after a Tyrannid has had a wee nibble. It's a universe where humanity worships a corpse on a golden bog throne, where every planet is either on fire, about to explode, or being invaded by 15 different species of eldritch nightmares. In short, it's a hellhole. And we're asking the question, could the Resistance survive even 5 fucking minutes here? Spoiler alert, no they fucking can't. But by the Emperor's holy ballsack, it's going to be a glorious bloody mess, finding out why. The Resistance, in a desperate bid to escape another shite First Order ambush, which, let's be honest, is just the Empire, but from Wish.com, slams the hyperdrive throttle. Unfortunately, they didn't account for navigational charts, reality, or the warp, because fuck it, science is for nerds, right? Instead of ending up in some quiet rebel-friendly corner of the galaxy, they tear a hole straight into the Immaterium, the Chaos Hell realm of screaming demons, psychic static, and nightmare tentacle gangbangs. They tumble out near Hiveworld Maltrax 17, a planet with more pollution than a Nurgle convention, and more guns than Texas. The local planetary defense force, already high on recaf, take one look at the strange ships dropping out of nowhere and immediately open fire with everything from flak turrets to orbital laser defenses. Within minutes, the Resistance is being treated like a surprise chaos incursion. Fire rains down like Sanguinius's tears, and here comes the bloody Sisters of Battle, a strike team screaming Latin and lighting everything on fire just to be sure. Rey ignites her lightsaber and thinks she's going to be force flipping her way through it like a proper Jedi badass. The sisters take one look at her and her glowing blade and go, "Demon host, burn it!" Rey tries to deflect a bolt around. Big mistake. It doesn't deflect, it detonates in her ribcage like a confetti grenade loaded with skulls and bad parenting. Her last words, "I'm a Skywalker." "No, you're not, Ken. You're a Palpatine-flavored lasagna splattered across the chapel walls." In the aftermath of that warm welcome, Leia tries to open diplomatic channels with the Imperium. Big mistake number 2. The signal doesn't even reach Segmentum Command before the Inquisition intercepts it. One scan, and they're already foaming at the mouth. Unknown Xeno fleet, psychic signatures, possible Chaos links. Oh, and one of them is genetically linked to an ancient warlord who shot lightning from his arse. That's a purge. The Ordo Hereticus launches a witch hunt with all the subtlety of an exterminatus on a Wednesday. Leia tries to explain herself, but the Inquisitor assigned to the case thinks she's a radical cult leader spouting Force heresy and issues an extinction warrant before she can say, "Hold her on." Admiral Holdo, high on sequels and sacrifice, decides to reenact her cinematic suicide dive. Except this time into a Black Templar fleet. That's a bad call. They're not caught off guard like the First Order. The moment her ship spills up the hyperdrive, a Lance battery fires with surgical precision, and melter torpedoes blast her cruiser out of the bloody sky like it owes tides. Her brave sacrifice becomes space glitter. Finn tries to be a hero. He gets intercepted by a Grey Knight librarian who doesn't have time for his redemption arc. The knight simply mind screams at him with enough psychic force to boil his skull like a teapot. Poe thinks he's a cocky flyboy again. He hits max burn on his X-Wing, only to get plucked out by a Thunderhawk gunship, swatted mid-dogfight like a bug on the windshield. So much for the best pilot in the Resistance. Meanwhile, good old BB-8 rolls onto a Forge World, happy as a ball with a personality disorder. He bleeps, he spins, he tries to look adorable. The Adeptus Mechanicus takes one look at him and screams, "Unsanctioned AI detected. Tech heresy. Praise the Omnisire." In under 10 minutes, BB-8 is chained, stripped for parts, and dumped into a furnace. His memory core is ritually sacrificed in a binary chant that translates to bleep bloop, heresy deleted. The tech priests don't stop there. They tear apart every Resistance ship that stumbles near their orbit. They reverse engineer Resistance droids into toaster-faced servitors, complete with Gregorian mode chants. C-3PO, they melt him down and forge his golden shell into a cathedral bell, which now tolls every time someone commits a minor programming error. The Resistance last remnant hides in an ancient Eldar webway, hoping to hide from the horrors of 40k. Chewbacca, bless his hairy arse, goes full Wookiee berserker and rips a gene stealer in half with his bare hands. Twice. But he doesn't see the lector behind him. A split second later, a tongue tentacle impales his chest, lifting him off the ground like a prize kebab. Rose Tico tries to make a speech about love or sacrifice or whatever Disney was smoking that day, and then a noise marine turns her vocal cords inside out with a sonic blast. The final hideout becomes a playground for chaos cultists, who assume the newcomers are low-effort Slaanesh cosplayers. Cue orgy massacres, ritual branding, and enough flaying to make Hellraisers blush. One Resistance fighter tries to pray to the Force. The Warp answers badly. A sentient frog made of teeth devours him cell by cell, while singing Yub Nub in reverse. Their last base is eventually discovered by the Death Corps of Krieg. Do the Kriegs ask questions? No! They just launch chemical bombardments and then march in with bayonets and finish off who's ever left twitching. The scoreboard. Rey smeared across a cathedral wall. Poe vaporized mid-sentence. Finn, cranial stew. Leia turned into orbital ash. BB-8 revered as a toaster god. C-3PO rings on a Sunday. The Resistance gone. Not even a memory, just a cautionary tale scribbled in an Inquisitor's Codex under miscellaneous Xenos. Status purged. So, could the Resistance survive the 40k galaxy? Well, about as well as a snowball in a plasma reactor. They've been crushed, burned, devoured, recycled, and turned into incense before they could save Force Ghost. The Resistance runs on hope and heroic speeches. In 40k, hope is heresy and speeches are shouted by a fanatic with a chainsword. So there ya have it. The Resistance is dead. The galaxy is a meat grinder, and 40k just laughed them out the airlock. Let me know in the comments, who should I toss in the Grimdark next? Could the Jedi survive the warp? Could the Separatists build an army fast enough? Or should we all just accept that anyone crossing into 40k is just gonna end up on the Skull Throne? Now, remember to like, subscribe, and smash the motherfucking bell! And share this madness with your pals. And remember, she wasn't a Skywalker. She was a Palpatine-shaped puddle on a cathedral wall. Have a killing day, you glorious bastards, and I'll see ya in the next one.